Galnet News Digest, 28th of February 3309. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, we look at some pretty blue pictures, while we wonder what can possibly be done to stop the Thargoids.
There is a way to stop the Thargoids advancing. There must be. Hiding somewhere in plain sight, there is something we could be doing. Something we could be using. Some approach to stop the Thargoids' control spreading even more widely through the bubble. But what is that thing? What is that action? The Thargoids have a purpose. They came to the bubble in response to the events in HIP 22460 last year, during which huge quantities of Guardian ancient relics were piled up around a Thargoid surface site. Salvation's attempt to wipe out the Thargoids using the resultant Proteus wave was a complete failure, with the initial blue radiation burst, which temporarily disabled the Thargoids, followed by a second green burst that woke the Thargoids up and disabled human ships. The whole episode seems to have annoyed the Thargoids, possibly because a 200-year-old human megalomaniac attempted to commit genocide upon their species, but it could equally have been a consequence of the memory of the ancient war between Thargoids and Guardians millions of years ago.
The Thargoids are far older than either the Guardians or humanity. They've been travelling round the galaxy planting barnacles which thousands of years later bear meta-alloys as fruit. These meta-alloys provide repairs and sustenance to the nomadic Thargoids, who quite possibly saw the Guardians as a pest in their barnacle fields and may see humanity in a similar light. The odd thing, though, is that there are no barnacles in the bubble. The Thargoids don't like something about humanity badly enough to venture away from their plantations. Do they think we're Guardians? What is it that they want from us that'll satisfy them, so they can return home? Do they want to see Azimuth destroyed? Do they want to reconnect with D2, the former human test subject, who could interface with the Thargoid hive mind? Do they want to meet up with the currently missing Thargoid cult and discuss the afterlife with them? If only we knew.
We can, in a very small way, recreate the alchemy that happened in HIP 22460. We can convert blue Guardian relics into green unknown relics by plugging them into a Thargoid structure. This change seems to be what gave the Thargoids their power back. Professor Palin and Ram Tar are still collecting these relics, but is there something more direct that we could do with them? Meanwhile, the majority of effort is being directed at fighting off the Thargoids after they have invaded a system. Systems on Thargoid alert, systems that may soon be invaded, appear inscrutable. There is some evidence that destroying the Thargoid logistics ships, the Orthrus interceptors, may help discourage an invasion. But is there something else we could be doing that's more effective?
In a few days, we have new technology arriving. The top 25% of those who've been assisting Aegis in setting up production of the new caustic sink launchers will be given early access to the technology and will be able to venture further into the Thargoid maelstroms, or at least to last a little longer in the caustic fog that envelops whatever Thargoid technology exists within. Many believe that there are huge Thargoid battlecruisers inside those clouds, perhaps something similar to those huge Thargoid surface sites, only not crashed face first into a planet. Caustic sinks won't allow us to take on Thargoid battlecruisers, but they are a first step along the road. We'll need to find ways of clearing the fog, of breaking through the force field that prevents our ships from reaching the centre. We'll need to find ways to either communicate with what we find inside, or, more crudely, we may need to attack it to attempt to drive it off. There's so much we don't yet understand. Without that understanding, our efforts may be misguided, but they're the best that we can currently manage. But we really, really need to come up with some good ideas, and soon.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News. We read the news so you don't have to.